In a world of foam warfare, not all blasters are created equal. Some fire farther, some fire faster, and some just aren't practical. The BOOMco Colossal Blitz is a 2015 blaster from Mattel. This massive phallus of a blaster gives you 2 firing modes to let loose with its 72 dart payload, meaning you could spray all night without ever letting go of the trigger. But taming this beast is no easy feat. First, you've got to satisfy it with 6 C batteries. And then all you have to do is load the drum. And load the drum. And load the drum. Did I mention you have to load the drum? Oh, sorry, I meant drums, as in plural. Like 72 darts of non-stop continuous firing. That is what this looks like. If this looks painful, you really only have to do it the once. As you start running low, as long as you don't completely empty them, you can always perform a tactical reload and keep a few darts in there. With a lot of darts comes a lot of reloading. Once its 2 big drums are loaded, the fun can begin. The drums will click in pretty easily on both sides of the blaster. When switched to semi-auto, the blaster's drums will rotate freely, allowing you to get in there and load in whatever spots are empty. In full auto, however, they are locked together, so you cannot easily move them, not without breaking anything anyway. When fully fed with both darts and batteries, the Colossal Blitz is very, very heavy. I mean, you could beat a whale to death with this thing. The weight distribution is, okay, and there's a carry handle on it, so lugging it around isn't too much of an ordeal. But there is no getting around it. This blaster is somewhat unwieldy and very, very big. Though the drums do give you a nice sight picture of whatever you're trying to fire at. It's also pretty comfy. Being a flywheel blaster, however, you do have to let it rev up before you take your shots. I have noticed if you switch between the full auto and semi-auto modes often, it can launch the first few darts in quick succession regardless of what mode you're in. Listen to that micro switch. Embrace the click. There are 4 tactical rails of the Colossal Blitz, and right here you're going to see I'm going to attach a Centurion bipod to keep it steady so I don't have to lug it around so much. And yes, these rails will fit Nerf accessories. And here I'm going to attach the Rapid Madness shield, mostly for looks, but there is a practical use for it. On the carry handle, there's a place for a good optic, so we're going to put that red dot sight there, although that does get in the way of carrying the blaster by the handle. Looking pretty good, but there is one more rail located in front of the trigger guard, and for that we're going to attach a BOOMco rounds magazine, so we have some backup ammo in case we're caught trying to reload. Most of these attachments are pretty useful, so I can highly recommend using this setup. Oh right, the practical reason why we're using that shield. Well, that shield has a front post on it, so when I put that front post in the crosshairs on the red dot sight, I have a fully functioning optic, which I can actually aim with, which is pretty cool for dart standards. When it comes to actual combat, the Colossal Blitz doesn't disappoint. Not only is this giant red dong gonna strike fear into the hearts of your enemies, but it's also going to be able to keep them away, with 72 rounds of non-stop firing. Because of the micro switch, the actual response time of the blaster is amazing, and on top of that, you've got 2 firing modes between both semi-auto and full auto. So if you need to harass targets at a long range, you can keep them away with semi-auto, but if you need to hit fast-moving targets or a large group of targets, you've got full auto for that. The firing speed is acceptable. It seems to fire faster than the Rhino Fire or the Rapid Strike stock. But that leads us to our first real problem, modability. See, this thing has 4 flywheels ran by just 2 motors. That doesn't lead to the most durable setup, so modding this blaster could wind up destroying it. And because it's BOOMco, well, you're gonna be using just BOOMco darts. So if you're stuck playing against a bunch of people who are using regular foam darts, you're gonna have a bad time unless you brought a lot of them. But the Colossal Blitz is definitely a great defensive blaster and a support blaster, though I wouldn't want to run around with it all that much. This is going to be a great blaster to use if you're with a team, and a lot less useful if you're running around by yourself. With its large capacity, decent range, and great accuracy, the Colossal Blitz is nothing to take lightly. Though its heavy weight and high price tag doesn't mean this blaster's for everyone. If you're looking for a way to support your team, lock down objectives, or keep the zombies away, the BOOMco Colossal Blitz is a very practical blaster. This thing is going to be able to keep it up all the way until morning.